You know that CoBank required that you provide them with an opinion of counsel in connection with making of the loan, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And Troop Brewer did that in 2020 when the loan was made, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And Troop Brewer confirmed per the credit agreement provision that Mr. Raybon and I looked at earlier that there was no litigation pending or threatened against the company that could have a material adverse effect on its operations or financial condition, even if adversely decided, right?
I believe that's what it said, yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll find it in a minute, but in the meantime, let me show you this. There was a second opinion letter written when you requested funding on the third loan, right?
I don't recall that.
Okay.
Off the top of my head.
Then let's have a look at what I'm going to mark as HOM2 Exhibit 151. It comes from ratepayers, attachment ratepayers 8-7 2605 is the beginning page. Do you see that it is a letter from Lloyd Gosselink letterhead? It's Miss Albright, Stephanie Albright, I believe it is,
Yes, ma'am.
to CoBank?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And it's dated March 24, 2021. And it was done because there was an additional extension of credit in that time frame, right?
I'm just trying to go back in time.
Let me try to help you. Do you remember that the CoBank loan was structured so that you could make 3 different draws if you chose?
Yes, ma'am. Now it's coming back. Thank you. You're right.
You could draw on what's called this T1. You could draw a single advance prior to a certain date. On this T2, you could draw a single advance up to a certain date. But on this T3, you could draw multiple advances all before a certain date, correct?
Right.
And so the company drew on T1 and T2 in 2020 and on T3 in 2021, right?
I believe that's right. Yes, ma'am.
And in connection with that, Ms. Albright wrote an opinion letter in March of 2021 to CoBank, right?
Yes, ma'am. I believe so.
Okay. Let me do this. I think I marked that as 151, and I'll offer it so that we can talk about it, Your Honor. I offer 151, which is the March 2021 opinion letter from Ms. Albright.
Okay, any objection?
No objection.
Thank you. HOM2 ratepayers 151 is admitted.
All right, and so I'm just going to scroll down to, well, I mean, it contains, as you would expect, the usual statement that they've examined the corporate records and other documents as they considered necessary and appropriate for purposes of their opinion, correct?
That's what it says. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so let's just scroll down to 7. And in number 7, the firm states that they're actively representing the borrower in one ongoing lawsuit and one administrative appeal. Do you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Pertaining to the 2016 sale, and also in this docket number that we're in right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it says, we believe, well, first off, it says, on behalf of borrower, that was the utility, right?
Mm-hmm.
We believe each and every one of these will be resolved in borrower's favor, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And none of them could have a material adverse effect on the borrower's condition, financial or otherwise, existing operations, properties, or business, or on its ability to perform its obligations under the loan documents, even if adversely decided. Do you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was true in March of 2021, right?
Yes, ma'am.
It's in evidence, so we don't necessarily need to walk through it, but you do know that Troop Brewer and Lloyd Gosling made exactly that same representation back in 2020, with one exception. They also included the one other proceeding, the Paxton lawsuit that the company had filed in Austin during that year, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And Troop Brewer said on behalf of borrower that each and every one of those pending actions will be resolved substantially in borrower's favor, and none of them, if adversely decided, could have a material adverse effect on borrower's condition, financial or otherwise, existing operations, properties, or business, or on its ability to perform its obligations under the loan documents. Do you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
That was true when Troop Brewer sent his opinion letter back in 2020, wasn't it?
That's what he said. Yes, ma'am.
Was it true
Ms.
or
Allen,
false?
Ms. Allen, let me just interrupt you right there. Your 30 minutes is about up, but as long as we can get through the Windermere witnesses by 3, you can use your time how you see fit. But I'm just wanting to let you know that's been about 30 minutes.
I appreciate the heads up. Thank you so much.
Go ahead.
Mr. Gimenez, it was true when Troop Brewer said it in 2020, wasn't it?
That was what he said.
It was true, wasn't it?
That was what he said, ma'am.
It was what the company said when it put its signature on the credit agreement. Isn't that right?
That's right.
You put your signature on the credit agreement, and when you did that, you warranted and represented to CoBank that none of this litigation mess, even if adversely decided, could have a material adverse effect on the borrower's condition, financial or otherwise, existing operations, properties, business, or its ability to perform. Isn't that right?
That's correct.
And the borrower here is the company, right?